Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. And because it's Tuesday, of course, let me remind you right off the bat, this is our church social day. And we call it Together Tuesday. It's at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And if you have never joined it, you've missed out. You've missed out. And in fact, every so often we play bingo. I don't know. You ever played Zoom bingo? Well, it's fun. It's just as fun. And we all talk and have a good time. So I don't know. I don't think that's what we're doing today, but it could be. Be sure you come. Whatever it is, we enjoy the fellowship and it's a blessing. I wish we were together, but this is what we have for this week and for today. Let me give you the verse for the day. We're going around this area and seeing if you recognize where we are. And I bet you are a lot of the times, but today's is not that easy, really, unless for some it might be, or you could have a good guess from it for sure. But here's the verse for today, and you'll see how it applies. And then I really pray that you'll apply it to your life, and we'll talk about it more after the video. But here it is in Philippians chapter 1 at verse 3. Paul says, I thank my God every time I remember you. By the way, I thank God when I remember you. And I love our church, and I'm so glad you are in it. And if you have not given it, maybe you just started watching Inspiration for Today. Well, when we get back together in Clubhouse 5, I hope you'll come by and meet us all in person. These are your friends and neighbors who live here in Laguna Woods, and we have a great time together. But Paul says, I thank my God every time I remember you. Verse 4, which is not a verse for the day, but it says, in all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy. And that's how I am with you. And I love to pray with joy for you. Well, let's watch this video, and then we'll come back and wrap it up and apply it to our own lives. Guess where we are?
Okay, well, we've come to a spot that might not be that familiar for many of you unless you've really lived around this area a lot, but this is such a meaningful spot to me, more than any of the others we will see this week. Why? Well, because we're at my aunt and uncle's home on Lido Isle. Did you guess that, Lido? Did you recognize Lido from any of this? My grandparents bought this home in the late 1950s. And it's been remodeled, of course, over the years and all that. But basically, since I was about 10 years old or a little more, this has been where I spent my summers and have had so many great family memories. Now, when I was young, we would play football and baseball on this beach, and there's a lot of room when the tide's out. When I was 6, it actually was earlier, because this is where I started sailing also. We had a little Sabbath. And I was allowed at like 6 and 7 years old to sail between, maybe I was 10, that end where that pier is, and I was able to sail down to where that pier is, because they could keep an eye on me, because I was sailing alone in those days. But what a great memory. And then when my kids were growing up, of course, when you have little kids, they're making sand castles on this beach. And we'd make ball tracks. You know what that is? Where the ball starts at the top and rolls to the bottom, and how innovative you can be as you do that. Obviously, a lot of boats are out there, and always have been. But it's a beautiful setting. Most of all, though, it's just memories. Great family memories. By the way, straight over there, across the way, is where we were yesterday. That's 15th Street, straight across, as well as the American Legion is over there. And this is a newly built lighthouse restaurant straight across, which is interesting. But it's a wonderful spot. I'm sure you have your spot too, and your great memories. And I encourage you to think of those as we look at this spot.
Well, you saw the good insight into my life there, and that spot. And actually, I kept saying, I wanted to clarify. I kept saying, well, I'm at my aunt and uncle's home on Lido, and I never took a picture of the home. I was poor cameramanship, you could say, but I was standing on the front porch, and that's where, so often we sit and enjoy all the passing boats. And it was a very quiet day, the day I filmed. You should see it on the weekends. There's so many boats back and forth, and maybe we take out that little boat that you saw in front of the house there. But you got great insight into my life, and honestly, and you've heard me talk about this if you've heard me speak at our night of worships and that is that when my grandparents lived there, I was down there as often as I could be. And I mentioned in the video summers, but I was there probably 50%, maybe not quite that much, but of the weekends. And my grandmother and grandfather were the tremendous influence in my life. And I'm a follower of Christ today, I really feel, humanly speaking, because of my grandmother. And so I only mention all of that because sometimes we think, well, we don't have much influence and we're older and what's my ministry and all that. You have a great ministry to your grandchildren. And I encourage you, be the influence that you can be to them, because you love them and they love you. And it's just, that's a God-given thing. And I mean, I can't imagine life without my grandkids now. But that's how, my grandmother took advantage. And by the way, her name was Ruby. And my daughter named her daughter Ruby. And I love that. And I love both Rubies, You probably have a similar spot that's important in your life and so I want to kind of transition, go back to our verse for the day. I thank my God every time I remember you. Are there memories in your life that even today, or places with the people that were involved, that you want to thank God for? He put them in your life and he gave you those experiences. What a blessing they are. In fact, even as I sit here and I'm talking to you, I'm thinking of several other places. Yes, I filmed that one. It was close and it in some ways it's the most important, but there are so many other people and places that I'm remembering even right now. Some of them involve you, our church family members, because I just love those. In my life, Clubhouse 5 and 7 actually, because of those nights of worship. Those are going to be key places that I so fondly remember. And I'll remember them for eternity, that they were a blessing. How about you? Are there places in your life that you would like to thank God for even this morning? Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing my childhood home, and it's still in the family and it's still a part of my life. But we have more adventures for you tomorrow and the rest of the week. Don't miss it. I want to see you. I hope you'll join us. God bless. Have a great day. And I hope I see you at 4:00 together Tuesday. See you then.
Beautiful day. It's wonderful. This is the day.